Well, with the economy the way it is right now, interest rates is always the major hurdle. They're not super low rates. However, to overcome that, we have different programs, different lenders, and promotions that can overcome that objection and help the customer out.
Welcome to the No Excuse Pro podcast, your weekly dose of motivation and actionable advice. If you're a realtor, financial planner, business owner, or anyone who's tired of making excuses and ready to take your success to the next level, you've come to the right place. Join your host, Kevin Brierton, each week as he chats with industry leaders who are going beyond the excuses to achieve their goals. So no excuses accepted. Let's get started.
Hey there, this is Kevin Brierton, host of the No Excuse Pro podcast, where we bring you education information around how to become a No Excuse Pro and really break through your things that are holding you back to obtain your dreams. So one of the people that I've known for a long time, and he's an awesome professional, works for Harley-Davidson in Scottsdale, selling motorcycles, has been doing it for a long time. Jeff Nelson, also known as Nelson. How you doing, Nelson?
Doing great. How are you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining me on here, man. And I really appreciate you. And it's I feel like you have a very great sense about you and how you handle things. But before we get into that, help me understand a little bit about your journey and what led you to your current position.
Well, motorcycles have always been a passion of mine ever since I was little. And I was hooked on my first ride when I hit the street. And in 2008, I was in a different field and not happy. And the economy was kind of going down. And my business I was in was drying up. So that's what turned me into making my passion into a career.
That's awesome, man. So what do you think over the years, what has led you to success and to be successful when maybe other people have not been able to be successful? What's been the one thing that makes the difference for you?
Taking the plunge with both feet. So when I made that leap, I had to leave. I was originally from Minnesota and I wanted to go to school. I worked at a small shop in Minnesota and wanted to get into the factory realm, and they wanted your certificates and get your certifications. And I thought I could just go to a local trade school, and I was wrong. There's only two factory endorsed schools, and that's one of the locations is here in Phoenix, Arizona. So sold everything I had and packed up and moved here and went to school for 2 years.
Was that for having to do with motorcycles? What was the school for?
Yes. Yep. It was MMI, Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. I went there for 2 years. I took early and late model Harley and took also Honda. And I was just shy of 2 years being there.
Wow. So that's a little unique. Do you find that salespeople have that background?
Typically, no. They either come from the car world or other careers that's not motorcycle related.
That's awesome, because I feel like you might have a different insight, into these people's what they need as a motorcycle compared to just selling them something. Tell me a little bit more about that and how that's made a difference in your career.
It's gave me a huge advantage because before I got into sales, I worked on motorcycles, and I was in the industry for 4.5 years before I got into sales. So I used to be a wrench and worked my way up at a small dealership and worked my way all the way up to a GM spot. And then that dealership was closing and they wanted to relocate me. I didn't want to move or relocate. So that's how I ended up at Harley-Davidson in Scottsdale. And it was a sales position. And now I'm coming up on 10 years.
I can't believe it's been 10 years, but I remember when you started there. So I think it's great because I feel like sales gives people so much more ability to have freedom of what they choose to do and how they want their day to look and their week to look. And then obviously the money side of it, it's really what you want and nothing holds you back. So I think that's huge that you were able to take that leap and have the faith that you can make it, and then have the staying power to see it through. Because there's got to be times where you had to like overcome an obstacle, or, you know, maybe for a client or for yourself, and you had to overcome an obstacle. So tell me a little bit about a time where you had to overcome an obstacle, either for yourself or a customer, and how did that make you feel?
Well, there was a lot of challenges because this passion, I've seen in my field and years of experience, like there's fellow classmates that went to school and they wanted to make this as a big career opportunity, and then they just let life get to them, or their pride is hurt. You know, they didn't want to start out as a like an entry tech. I swallowed my pride and started as rock bottom as an entry tech and just kept working my way up, and I never let up on the gas. I just kept working hard and kept moving up.
That's awesome, man. Well, I think that's important because you got to have the staying power to continue to go up too, because so many people don't have that staying power, and then maybe it's about pride. And you mentioned that. I think that's a good takeaway, is you can't have too much pride that gets in the way of what you're building towards. Because if you're building towards something, sometimes you're not in the ideal situation of where you want to be at that point. And I think it's important. I heard something on a interview I was listening to recently, and I love this idea, was you need to make sure you do the necessary things and make those things easy. So whatever the essential things are, you have to try to make that easy in your day-to-day. Because a lot of times they're not easy in your everyday things you need to be doing, whether it's in your work or personal life. You need to make those as easy as possible. And then the non-essential, let's say sitting around playing video games or searching on social media, you need to make those a little bit harder. So whether it's, it takes longer to log into something, or you don't keep it on you, whatever that is. I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing. And so question for you, I mean, I know, when you're dealing with a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts, especially in selling motorcycles to people, are there two resources that you think about, like, man, if it weren't for these things, I wouldn't be here today, or I wouldn't be able to do my job? Are there two resources that come to mind that really help you and make you think that, man, again, if these weren't here, I wouldn't be here today?
Oh, absolutely. The two main resources, I definitely would have to say the trade school, MMI. I got out of it what you put into it. Some people didn't take it as serious. I took it very serious and graduated at the top of my class. And then the second resource would be a dealership that was willing to take and give me a chance to get my foot in the door and start out as an entry tech.
That's awesome. I mean, because a lot of times, even in our mortgage business, you try to get in the business and it's almost impossible to get in the business if you don't have actual, experience. So it's like, where do you start? And I get it. I mean, because the fail rate is high. You probably see a lot of people have failed over the years, unfortunately, in your business. So what are the biggest challenges, though? I want to talk about clients right now as far as what you serve. What are the biggest challenges you're seeing your customers face, and how are you specifically helping them solve that?
Well, with the economy the way it is right now, interest rates is always the major hurdle. They're not super low rates. However, to overcome that, we have different programs, different lenders, and promotions that can overcome that objection and help the customer out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's in our business too. We're having rate challenges, and I think it comes down to why people are doing it, and do this in the right way, in a healthy and a cool way, and don't manipulate with this. But I think it's important to remind people why they're doing it. They're not buying a house for a payment. They're not buying a motorcycle for a payment. they're buying a motorcycle to go enjoy the ride. And maybe, whatever it is, whether it's commuting, let's say, to save on gas, or they want to go ride on Sundays with their friends. They want to stress relief. They want to take it to the track, whatever it is. But there's usually a reason why. And whether rates are up or down, higher rates put a little more pressure on it. But I think it's important to solve like what they're really trying to solve. Like, why are you even doing this? Because we know you're not doing it for a monthly payment. Do you have anything to add around that?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I'm in a field of, it's not a need, it's a want basis.
Yeah.
So, and you can't put a price on making memories. That's what I tell everybody. And so that's just it. It's a solution. Maybe it's a freedom, or relieving stress after a stressful work day, or riding with your friends on the weekend, or just a getaway to kind of escape the world.
Yeah, dude, I grew up around Harleys for a long time, and my dad was a hardworking guy, and I always looked up to him. And one of the things that he always said was, when I get on my motorcycle and I ride, all the problems seem a lot less important. They all shrink kind of behind me, and I visualize riding in the problems shrinking. And so I still ride to this day, and I think it is a big deal to kind of balance out, where you're at mentally to become the best for what you're doing. So is there anything that you do, or you believe like you do on a daily habit or personal routines that contribute to your success?
Oh, absolutely. Like, the very first thing I do when I wake up is I make, this is cliche, but it's make my bed. The first thing when I do, I get up and make sure all clothes are put away, and I make my bed before I jump in the shower. So that's just starting off as a productive day right from the get-go.
That's awesome. I've heard that a few times, and I think it's a good way to just jumpstart it instead of laying around and sleeping in and doing whatever. It's like, all right, let's jumpstart the day. Let's get going. And I've heard that a few times. That's definitely a pattern or part of formula for success. Are there any other patterns or formulas of being successful that you've seen either yourself or maybe some other professionals that you guys are around?
Oh, absolutely. Like up-to-date training, always studying my craft. Harley always has online training to keep you up to the latest and greatest. So it's constantly monthly, quarterly, and then there's huge meetings on it. Always encouraging and being positive and moving forward and staying on top of it.
Yeah. That's good to have training. And one of the things, is just continually get better, because, you can either have you can look forward or look backwards and actually have a lot of, 30 years, let's say you have 30 years of experience, but you have 30 years of the same day of experience over and over and over and over. And it's the same day and you never continue to get better. But looking back and then improving and having every day kind of build on itself and continue to grow, being around people that are pushing you, training you, helping you grow, I think that's huge. So why, like, obviously not everybody makes it in your field. Like, how did you embrace that differently than maybe others? And like, what type of mindset have you benefited from and leaned into than others maybe have not?
Well, it's the lifestyle. It's my passion. It's in my blood work. It's in my DNA. Like I said, I started when I was little, because I had an older brother that got me into it, and I like sharing my passion and get people excited and freedom that I have when I ride and enjoy it. So it's a lifestyle for me. It's not a fad. It's not something I think is just, cool or just popular. I can't live life without it.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, it's, when you're passionate about it and it just like trips your trigger, you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life. And that's what I've been doing. I don't feel as it's work. and being on the other side of the tech world and actually relating and sharing experiences and ride experiences with customers, I get to meet other professionals from all different walks of life, and that's very cool, and that keeps me having the fire, and especially getting new riders into the field and seeing their passion, their first ride, and then hearing their stories. And I'm like, man, I remember that, and it seems just like yesterday.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think that's a big deal because, everybody's like, it's easy to say, find your passion, never work a day of your life. But if you actually are in line with that and you're helping people, and your reward is seeing other people's happiness come from that, because over the years you see people come back in, they take rides there, they come see you. So I think you see a kind of a feedback loop that's right in front of you. So that is an interesting thing. And I think that a lot of people, if they can find something they really truly enjoy, or at least do things they enjoy, I think some people end up finding that, they think they should get a Harley, or they think they should get a boat, or they think they should get a mountain bike because everybody else is doing it. And it's really got to be what you want to do. There's no right or wrong answer. A lot of times there's for one person, a Harley is great, and for other person, it might not be the thing, right? And so I think that you're living it, and I think that's awesome, man. And so I'm going to ask you a question around no excuse philosophy. So in line with this ethos of no excuse for the podcast, can you share with me an experience you had to hold yourself or maybe your team member or somebody accountable to ensure success?
Oh yeah, I think the biggest thing, in professional and personal, is procrastination. When you can't be lazy, you have to push through it. Like, if somebody asks something that needs to be done, that you do it now than later. Otherwise, everything just starts stacking up, and then stress comes, pressure comes, and then you're just kind of out of control. And this way, when a customer has an expectation or a question, that you immediately answer them, you don't put it off, and you take care of it right away. And then there's less to worry about at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think being proactive rather than reactive is extremely, extremely important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what are your goals or aspirations for the next, 5 or 10 years? What do you see yourself doing? And also, how do you measure success in your role? Like, what do you want to do moving forward? And then how are you going to measure that as success in your eyes?
Well, I feel pretty good right now because I work at the world's largest Harley dealer, and so that's pretty neat. It took me 2 years to get into that place, and now here coming up next month, it will be 10 years since I've been there, and the experiences. But what my strive goal would be is, just double up on the experience, make more sales, and then just keep working my way up in the management world at that dealership.
Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah. So do you oversee anybody right now?
No, I oversee, like, I'm an inventory manager, so I have other responsibilities, not just sales, but making sure bikes are coming in right, the bikes getting posted online so the customers can view, and it's a lot of numbers and things keeping track of.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think they'd be happy to have you they should be honored to have you as a leader over there. And again, your way of handling things over the years is just great. And you guys have just such a great following for your clients, and you specifically have a great following. So that means that it'll transfer really well into leadership, and people will be happy to be led by you. So I think that's amazing. Jeff, you're in the North Scottsdale area, Harley. And man, I know you're going to keep doing a great job. This is kind of our sweet spot right now in Arizona. This is the time to be out there riding, right? Where's your favorite place to ride?
Oh man, that's one thing great about Arizona, especially once you get out of the city. I mean, riding up to Pine, going up to Jerome, riding 89A, going to Tortilla Flat. I mean, there's so many roads I can think of that I just absolutely love and enjoy. And there's ones that are more northern Arizona too that I've yet to explore that I keep discovering from other riders and hope to make it out there.
That's awesome, man. Well, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. I really appreciate you sharing your insight. It is a unique journey because you were on the backside of, repairing, fixing, being a tech on the machines that you now represent and help people enjoy and really have some place where they can, get away and get their mind right and just have this place that's really sacred. So I appreciate you jumping on. Thank you so much for your time. Hey, thanks for listening to the No Excuse Pro podcast, where we're helping you with tactics, strategies to overcome excuses and take control of your dreams in your life. Thanks again. Catch us on the next episode and have an awesome week.
And there you have it, folks. Another enlightening episode of the No Excuse Pro podcast is in the books. A heartfelt thank you to today's guests for sharing their wisdom, and to you, our valued listeners, for spending your time with us. If you're ready to ditch the excuses and level up, make sure to subscribe and find all our episodes at noexcusepropodcast.com. Don't forget, the only thing standing between you and your goals is the story you tell yourself. So no excuses accepted here. Take action and make it happen.